Greetings to our viewing audience, and welcome to a special edition of Out on Film Spotlight, where we're going to be featuring one of our award-winning documentaries, and one that I had the chance to do the Q&A on back during the 2018 edition of the annual Out on Film Festival, Atlanta's largest LGBT film festival, by the way. And of course, I'm your host, Miko Evans. I'm the CEO and executive producer of Meek Productions. That's MEAK as in kite, Productions with an S Incorporated. We're the world's first LGBT exclusive talent agency and production company. And for more information about us and our vision, please visit us online at www.meekproductions.com. Once again, that's MEAK as in kite, Productions with an S.com. For more information about this year's annual Out on Film Festival, which will be taking place later this fall, please visit their official website at www.outonfilm.org. Once again, that's www.outonfilm.org. I am very, very delighted to have back with us for the second time to celebrate their 3-year anniversary of the release of this award-winning documentary, When the Beat Drops. And I am so happy for them that they're actually coming out on DVD. Yes, they're coming out on DVD April the 22nd of this year, courtesy of Kino Lorber, and it is going to be fabulous. I can't wait to get my copy. Okay, because I really, really love the movie. We have both one of the producers, Jordan Finnegan, and of course the fabulous, world-renowned celebrity choreographer whose directorial debut was, of course, with this documentary, brother Jamal Sims. What's happening, brothers?
Yo, yo, yo. What up, Miko? How you doing?
It couldn't be better. Now that you two are here, this is like
Uh,
a family reunion for me, y'all.
yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like yesterday. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago that we were just, I was sitting there talking to you, it feels like yesterday.
I know, I know. Before we even get started, let's just get the stuff out the way. How have you all been surviving the pandemic?
Oh, ooh, well, Jay, do you want to talk about you or you? Because I'm
Please,
running my
Jamal.
mouth. But it's been crazy. Like I really thought that, when the pandemic started, I was supposed to be filming a Disney film directing in Vancouver. And so right
Wow.
the week before it started, they put a stop to that. So everything stopped, and everybody was kind of wondering in our industry what was going to happen. Are we going to be able to go back to work? Or, shortly after that, I had never really thought that I wasn't going to work again. I just knew that everybody just kind of had to figure it out, right?
Hmm.
So I took the time. I enjoyed actually just taking the time to decompress and kind of get into myself. It was a nice little break for me because then in June it picked up. Drag Race called and was like, "We're gonna be filming," and I was like, "Are they sure?" Like it was a weird thing. Like I don't know if I really want to be around people right now. Like it was really kind of at that point where it was a little dangerous. It felt dangerous at least for me because this was unexplored territory.
Hmm.
So we got there and we were tested like every day. They put up these plastic barriers between the judges. I mean, things were different. I couldn't work with the queens the way I normally. So it was a challenge. But ever since then, I've done a Barbie movie. I've done another Disney film, animated film. Now, so it's just like work has been actually more busy than I've been more busy now than I have been when I was before, I think. So
Wow, wow.
I
We're
mean,
gonna get we're gonna actually get back to some of your works and stuff like that in just a
sure.
few. But let's go over here to Jordan right quick. Tell us a little bit about how you've been surviving the pandemic.
Look, I've been very fortunate because I had the ability to isolate. I could migrate a lot of my business onto Zoom and using the telephone, which is the producer's great instrument of war. But what I wanted to say was, um, last January, I was in Las Vegas, which is a town I don't get to spend a lot of time. And I got to see Jamal's co-directorial work on RuPaul's Drag Race Vegas. And I got to see
Yes.
a packed theater of people go absolutely crazy for one of the most riveting and amazing stage spectacles that any of us had ever seen. And it was such an incredible moment because, we were there to celebrate Jamal's work, co-directing this amazing production
Mm.
with RuPaul Charles, with everyone at World of Wonder, at the Flamingo, which is this iconic venue in
Yes.
Las Vegas. And it was such an incredible event to be a part of. And sadly, the show obviously had to go down at the same time that Vegas did because, we can't have people congregating. So I'm so glad that I got to be there for that debut, and sad that that show didn't get to go on and live the life that it deserved to live. And I think Jamal also, hopefully I'm allowed to say this, but he also got to work on the She's the Man remake, the She's All That remake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's All That.
He's all that. Yeah, he's
all that with Addison Rae, who's a huge star, and it's just another kind of popular culture feather in Jamal's very handsome cap.
Let me tell you,
Because that movie will obviously get a lot of attention when the time comes. So I'm just excited that he's still out there creating on larger and larger canvases. Not to mention, when we were finishing When the Beat Drops, Jamal was bouncing back and forth between the production of Aladdin, which was such a massive canvas that he was able to kind of paint on while he was finishing the directorial responsibility. So I think it's just very fortunate for someone who's so overscheduled that we can figure out a way to tell this story of When the Beat Drops, which was something that was so special to all of us.
Yes, because even before we get to that, I want to commend Jamal because I'm a big fan of Aladdin. I mean, I remember going to see it, the first animated
yeah,
version when it actually came out. And when I looked at the live version, and of course, when I found out that you was the choreographer, I'm like, damn. Because it was almost like, to be honest with you, when I looked at all of the dance scenes and everything, you actually mimicked the animated version of the movie, and it was like, and also added your own spin to it, and I was like, damn, so it's like
thank
it was
you.
just fabulous. I just have to give you your props on that.
Thank you. Let me tell you, God is good. It's definitely been blessing. I've been blessed. And
Mm-hmm.
um, the funny part about Aladdin was I didn't rewatch the original. So
Mm.
so it wasn't like I wasn't trying to do that, but I think because it was kind of in my body and my DNA of what I remember, you know what I mean? It just kind of came out like that. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, it was an amazing project to work on. Like I had so much fun doing that. So much fun.
How did you actually get the opportunity to actually even be a judge on RuPaul's Drag Race before we get started with the documentary?
Yeah, Drag Race, Rue, I knew Rue. Rue was my second audition I've ever done as a dancer. So this was in '95. I auditioned for a live Vegas show, and they couldn't tell you who the artist was. But I went and auditioned, and you had to sing and dance. And I'm no singer, but I can carry a tune. So I was like, let me go ahead and just see if I could carry this tune, but I know I could dance.
Uh-huh.
And end up getting the job. And it was me and another guy, Dante Henderson, a friend of mine. Well, we met there, but we were his background singers at the Sahara Casino in Vegas in '95. Rue did a one woman show for like 2 hours, and it was just us three on stage. And we
Wow.
did like 2 weeks of shows, and it was incredible. So that's how we met. And then throughout Rue's career, we just always stayed in contact. When he did the VH1 show, I was there doing the VH1. So it was always step by step. So when Drag Race came, of course, he was like, "Hey, you want to come and do this?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So that's kind of how it's been. That's how our relationship started.
Wow, wow, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Let's get to this historic documentary, which I feel is historic because we don't have too many stories that talk about the legacy of what, back in the day, we used to call it just voguing, but
Right.
come to find out it actually came from bucking.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into that because, this documentary coming out has had already received rave reviews and won numerous awards for outstanding best documentary, of course, starting with Out on Film. You
Hey.
all won the outstanding best documentary award for Out on Film. Of course, it was the same at Outfest in LA. at Frameline Film Festival and the Miami Film Festival. So, I mean, when you all found out that this documentary actually, received these accolades, what was your thoughts?
My thought was we did our job. Yes, it was as great as we thought it could be, and that's what I felt like. I was like, wow, like people feel the same way about this film that we felt from the very conception of like us wanting to do it, and so it just kind of validated things that I was thinking about from the beginning, like the story being told. That was for me.
Jordan, what was your inspiration in actually, getting involved with this particular project as one of the co-executive producers?
I mean, I met Jamal Sims on a movie he was choreographing for the company I was working for in 2008. And I watched him for 5 minutes with Bernie Mac and Sam Jackson. And I just said, I'm watching a director. And I expressed this to him at the time. I said, when you're ready to direct, I'm going to produce for you. And, we stayed in touch over the years, and I'm watching his career just become more and more supersonic. And, he called me in 2013. He said, I want to direct this music video, and I want to do it in 8 days. And do you want to produce it? I said, of course. And we produced this music video, which I think is kind of Jamal's short form version of like La La Land.
Okay.
Beautiful piece of work that came together, so beautifully under his creative direction. And as we were scouting locations for that project, I said, look, if you do anything that you want, I mean, anything at all, what would it be? And he said, I want to do a documentary about these boys down in Georgia do a style of dance called bucking, otherwise known as J-setting. I said, great. Like, we should go down to Atlanta, see if we can identify the people that, do this style of dance, the people who are the leaders of this community, and see if we can compel them to work with us. And, 4.5 years later, this movie resulted. But the bottom line is, like, when someone like Jamal tells you they've seen something cool in the dance world that they haven't seen before, you pay attention and you know that there's a good story there. But the story that ended up on screen, at the time I was framing it in mind, thinking this is going to be amazing dance visuals and great set pieces. And what we ended up discovering very quickly is that there's just incredible people at the center of this cultural community and amazing human stories. And our subjects are just so incredibly compelling and also, very different in the way that they conduct their lives and the way that they live their lives. And it just really resonated with me on a personal level. So I felt like when we were delivering the movie that we had succeeded in the effort to portray this dance world and really tell a story of three-dimensional people, especially tracing the trajectory back to the prancing J-sets from Jackson State University and actually capturing them at a game, with the Jackson football team at the Southwestern Athletic Conference back in 2013. And what we ended up seeing at every one of these screenings, starting in the spring of 2018 with Miami, followed by Frameline, that the reaction from the audience just kept getting bigger and bigger. And, these very kind words that we were getting from people in not only the community, LGBTQIA plus community, but also from kind of the journalist community, it just kept getting bigger and bigger to the point where when we were the centerpiece documentary at Outfest, we had gone through the efforts to arrange to have the teams actually do an impromptu dance battle after the screening.
Wow.
Because we had seen the level of energy. I mean, Jamal got a standing ovation for 5 minutes after the Frameline Film Festival screening in San Francisco at the Castro Theater. And I'm going to say this, in a very blessed career with a lot of pretty incredible moments. And I mean incredible moments, like things I wouldn't even bore you describing, but standing there watching this audience stand for Jamal and applaud him was the most gratifying moment in my career. It was, and his parents were there and my mom was there. It was just, I mean, Anthony was there when he was still with us. And it just kept getting bigger. I mean, obviously to the point where in the fall of 18, we were the opening night film at the Out on Film Atlanta, which was amazing to do a hometown screening where everybody who was involved in the movie who was still with us could attend. Like, the level of energy is so kind of imprinted in my mind. Just the chemical reaction of the way it felt to see that with the people who took part in the movie. And we just have to, obviously give a huge shout out to Jim and Craig for giving us such a beautiful hometown reception. Just incredibly grateful for that. It was just unforgettable. It was unforgettable. And then Jamal went to a screening of the film in London. And I had a friend at that screening who was not affiliated with the movie. And I asked him, like, what was the experience like? And he said it was literally the documentary equivalent of watching Rocky for the first time. It built to that level of enthusiasm and excitement. And I said, that's great. And since then, Jamal and I have received praise from people from around the world who have seen the film at festivals and reached out on social media just to say, this experience impacted me in a visceral manner. This film moved me. And that's been incredibly gratifying. And then obviously all of the release culminating in a nomination for a GLAAD Media Award, just to get on GLAAD's radar. For me, I don't want to speak for Jamal, but I'm sure he feels very similarly. To be heard and seen by GLAAD was really kind of an exceptional moment, because you want that organization to be supportive of your project. Getting a GLAAD Media nomination is just an amazing endorsement of the film. And we were very proud to receive that. It was really very special.
You know what? I think everything that you and both Jamal just said, I kind of feel, because I feel his presence right now, that was a wonderful send-off for our late brother, who's now our new ancestor, brother Anthony Davis. And the beautiful thing about this actual piece is that it was a beautiful testimony about his story, as well as the other people that were involved. But it was just really, really something about him, me being an original Atlantan myself like him. And I know him and we was actually looking forward to catching up, because I remember I said, I remember first meeting you when I had just graduated from high school in 89. Because I said, what class are you? Because I'm class of 89, and I think he said he was either class of 87 or 88 or one of them. I said, yeah, we were right there in there together. And stuff like that and stuff. Yeah, because you went to this school and I was over here at Northside School of Performing Arts and all of that stuff. So we was really looking forward to really reconnecting and to talk about the way the old club life used to be in the ATL. Because I think the first time I actually saw him, because even when the whole J-setting movement, like I said, back then we called it voguing. And even when that movement started, you used to see the guys, but I used to always see this big heavy brother that was moving better than the skinny and the muscular dudes. And he would shut it down each time.
Oh boy.
He would shut it down and stuff. And so, like I said, it was just so good to see Anthony when you all debuted at did the home debut at Out on Film and stuff like that. But what I want to get from you all is celebrating his legacy. How did you all feel when you heard the news about his passing?
It hit me like, literally, I felt like a family member had passed, because, we shot this documentary over 5 years. So it was a 5-year period. It wasn't like we were just there for 6 or 7 months or a year.
Mm-hmm.
We had been with these guys for 5 years, and actually Anthony turned us down in the beginning. None of them really wanted to do this documentary. And until Anthony said yes, then everyone else felt like it was safe to allow us to tell their story. So it was really him that, everything else kind of just became something because Anthony said it was okay, So I really felt like, spending time with him over 5 years and just being so close. So even when we weren't filming, we were talking about things and, and so sharing his dreams and what he wanted to do beyond just dancing in the clubs. And, so we just shared a lot of moments. So when it hit me hard. And I remember I was at breakfast, and I don't know, Jay, if you called me, I think you probably did call me. And I was just like, it was terrible. Terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a call from his cousin Keely, who we'd spent a lot of time with, and she was very upset. She told me the story, but I was left with just a kind of a modicum of solace because he slipped away peacefully.
Mm.
He wasn't in any pain. I was grateful for that. So I was also very grateful that Jamal and I could both get to Atlanta from, I think I was in LA. Jamal, I can't remember where you were, but we were both able to get back to Atlanta for his homegoing, and, even got to put our hands on the casket
Wow.
to help transport it to his plot, which felt very respectful. But, the first thing that came to mind after attending the service was, we've got to go in and change the epilogue of the movie, and we need to amend it to indicate that we lost him. And we went in, and we all, the three of us, Jamal, myself, and our picture editor Felipe Lins, went in to make that adjustment, because it had to be kind of perfectly worded and kind of perfectly layered in. It needed to be an appropriate send off. So I'm grateful that we got to do that. And I think we got to do that like right before the movie went to the WOW Presents Plus platform, which is where the movie's been streaming exclusively, past the theatrical release, and will be part of the DVD. So it's grateful that we got to be there for his homegoing, and grateful that we got to amend the movie in a very respectful and kind of honorable manner. That's how I feel about it.
That's beautiful, because he's now considered like the godfather of J setting, what I'm saying, the father of that, so I mean, that was just a wonderful way and a wonderful send off to him. So it's also great to hear that a lot of this discussion about him and his legacy is actually going to be included in the DVD, because what type of can you actually tell us what type of special features are you all going to be able to present when on the DVD release?
On you.
Well, yeah. Well, first and foremost, I mean, as soon as they were like DVD, I have been a great admirer of DVDs since basically 1997.
Okay.
And I've listened to so many commentaries and learned so much about the filmmaking process, listening to directors, producers, editors, costume designers, production designers talk about the craft. But the first thing I said was, well, Jamal should absolutely do a director commentary for this. And I was like, Jamal, let's do this together. And
Yes.
like, of course, we couldn't do it in the same place because of, COVID restriction. So Jamal got to do his own director commentary, and I did a producer commentary, which was wonderful to kind of elaborate on the genesis, how it all came about, what it took to execute this, what it took to execute that, to really kind of highlight all the directorial moments that Jamal not only brought to the process, but discovered throughout. To toast our collaborators, our picture editor, our cinematographer, everybody at World of Wonder that helped us accomplish the objective. But I also loved immediately like jumping on my old computer and started dusting off like deleted scenes. That we just, look, if we had just put this movie together and not worried about length, this thing would have been longer than Hoop Dreams. I mean, this movie would have been 4.5 hours long, but we wanted to tell a very concise story with all of the arcs and the through line building up to this crescendo at the big buck. There was just things we were just never gonna have time for. So it was great to go in and find a couple of deleted scenes that didn't make it into the cut, just simply for the purposes of telling a concise story, and get it in there. And quite frankly, everybody's completely overscheduled these days, including Jamal. I mean, everybody's overscheduled, but if we had like maybe a couple more months, I would have literally had something cut together about like the making of the movie. Because I mean, maybe my memory of this is skewed a little bit, but I feel like between Jamal and myself, there was like 30 trips to Atlanta in 5 years. I mean, Jamal was there for like different reasons than I was, etc. But there was just so much footage that we could have put together to be like, and here's trip number 6, and here's trip number 8, here's trip 10, and like all of these things, like, because we, as Jamal mentioned, we didn't just pop this off in 7 months. We really inhabited the lives of these characters. And there's so many scenes that we could have expanded upon, like just seeing Linnell go get a haircut. And, you know, totally have a crush on this guy who was giving him a haircut and very kind of delicately getting his number. It was just like so cute, but it's also like kind of tells the story in a more three-dimensional manner. So we just had such an abundance of footage. There was, you know, when we found out that there was going to be a DVD release, like home entertainment release, it was like, great, let's do the commentary. Let's dust off the DVD. Do you need a link to the trailer? Like, we have a trailer that we love so much that we could throw in there that Jamal and I were able to cut right before the Miami screening. So that was really exciting to go in there and try and emulate all these DVDs that I admired, like, you know, the 7 Criterion edition, or, you know, Boogie Nights Criterion, or Devil's Advocate, all these movies that I love so much. And I know that Jamal has looked at some of those commentary tracks as well. So I wanted to just do as much of that stuff as possible.
You know what? The beauty about technology, especially with the 4K, HD, technology and Blu-ray, and there's so much that you can do, because I was just going to suggest, I mean, whatever you all didn't get a chance to put in your first issue release of this documentary, y'all have the anniversary editions like 5 to 10 years later. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, y'all can always add.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To do special editions and stuff like that, because y'all got me to thinking about, for example, I think this year is like the 45th anniversary of Friday the 13th Part 2, and they did like a special steel cover edition of that and all that stuff. So there's so much you can do now with things now. So I'm really looking forward to holding my copy.
You're gonna get it, but the thing for me, the real kind of mission fulfillment, if you will, like, we aim to tell the story, to get the story on screen that Jamal wanted to tell, but to see the film start to really live a life after its debut it's something that you can't plan for, you can't predict it. If something is going to take on some kind of iconic status, you can't plan on iconography. Like, no one could have said when they made Top Gun in 1985 that movie was going to become like this iconic piece of cinema, or Blade Runner or something, or particularly Paris is Burning, which I think just had its 30-year anniversary. The film has continued to live a life in digital, has continued to live a life in home entertainment. And if we are fortunate, we'll continue to build an audience that sees it over the course of generations, and reinforces a very rightful narrative and self-belief that you can be exactly who you want to be in your life. And you don't have to be hindered by judgments of other people. Be who you are, be who you wish to be. And I think that that's the message that's resonated with some of the younger people that we've talked to about this film. Jamal, I don't know if you've gotten that as well, but I feel like, just in terms of an audience, that the fire has been rising for the past 3 years since the film debuted.
Yeah, Jamal, because I want to actually talk to you about you being a dancer yourself, and you having to grow up, during a certain time where, it really wasn't always safe to actually be your authentic self and everything like that. Because I was going to ask you, just like with the testimonies that's being displayed in the documentary, that they talked about, being stereotyped, and a lot of the barriers that they had to go through and that they had to face, in order to find that place, in order for them to actually be exactly who they are. And so J setting became that avenue for them to do that during a period and a time where, being out and open wasn't truly completely accepted the way it is now. Go ahead, Jamal.
That's right. Yeah, no, I did. You're right. I remember when I did my first music video, which was a Michael Jackson music video. I remember there were a couple of dancers that were gay and proud, right? And I remember sitting, and at that point, I wasn't. And I remember feeling like, man, I wish I had the courage to be them. Even though I heard the murmurs in the background of what people were whispering, and, oh, they're this and this, I admired that courage, because it takes so much courage, especially in the Black community, because we really, we're taught, that this is wrong, like, we're going to hell, all that stuff that is filled in our head. And so, so I remember working for years and not telling anybody really about my sexuality. And when I met these guys, I find the same story, right? They had the same, Anthony kind of had the same feeling. The younger generation didn't feel like that, but they didn't grow up in the time that we did, right?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
their perspective of how this is how other people view them is different, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
But we had to really care about who knew and what, you know, and could our jobs be taken away? Am I
Yep.
going to work on the next music video if I tell somebody I'm gay? So
Hmm.
it was all of that, and that's what I really love, because at the end of the day, it was about the passion for the art that really made them show up every Saturday at that club. They loved to dance, and they
Hmm.
loved that particular style of dance.
Hmm.
And nothing was going to stop them from doing it. And that's what really drew me to this project, because I didn't know about it in LA. I didn't know about J-Set and Bucking, whatever they called it at the time. I didn't know about it. And so when I went to tracks for the first time and saw them on the floor, I stayed there about 4 hours, I promise, and watched them dance. And I was like, this is incredible. This is
Which tracks did you go to? Which version? Which tracks?
the original tracks. The one on
Lucky Street,
was it? Yes.
the one
Yeah.
that was on Lucky Street
Yeah.
before the Olympics came, or was it
The
after
one
the
with
Olympics?
is it 2-story, 3-story?
It was the 3 level. It
You
sure
know,
was. It was the 3 level.
that's the one. That's the one. I was there. I was there. I was there on a Labor Day weekend, actually. So you already know.
Ah, yeah, old school, baby.
Must have been fun. I bet that was a good time.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it's funny, I'm in there with my hoodie on, baseball cap low, you know, still,
Okay.
you know, and I'm
Trying to
like,
get, because
yeah,
you had to really be, yeah, you had to kind
absolutely.
of be a little, yeah, especially going in. Now, once you got in the door, you
Yeah,
was able to kind of let loose, but you going
absolutely.
there,
Yeah. Tuck it in, roll.
yep.
You know? And that's the beauty of today. Like people, the kids don't understand what we had to do,
That's right.
in order for them to be able to do what they're doing. You know, it's really interesting, that journey for us, you know, in
And
our.
you know what? Another beautiful thing about, I think what's the icing on the cake with Anthony's story and his legacy is that the reason why a lot of, especially from our generation, that we, drew to that, because it's been a long time, I guess, since the Paris is Burning
Yeah,
documentary, that we saw something recent that talked about our struggle, that talked about our legacy, and the icing on the cake that Anthony brought was the fact that he was a plus size guy.
yeah.
He actually told his testimony from that perspective,
Hmm.
and and about his the stereotypes that black gay men who are plus size, what they go through, and the whole body image
Absolutely.
situation, you know what I'm saying, and how he talked about that, and that really was the icing on the cake, I feel,
I,
for the entire documentary, was his testimony from his perspective and from his eyesight and from the generation he grew up in, which was Jamal, you and our generation and stuff, so that was beautiful.
I totally agree. You know, Jada Pinkett has the Red Table Talks, and it has like, it has her mother, and then it has hers, and I mean her, and then it has
Her
Willow,
daughter.
and these are
Mm-hmm.
all generations, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
get to find out how they're similar, how things were different, and I think that that's what the documentary offers as well, because we have, the Godfather, and then we have all the way down to Flash, who is somebody that's out there in the street. He's a rapper. He's a gay rapper, openly gay rapper. So I think that, this is a cool way to tell the story through all these different people that have totally different experiences with this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time, and I really think that even in 3 years later, watching this documentary, I don't feel like anything much has changed, right? We still face the same struggles, and so it's important to put a representation out there so people can see. Because we premiered this movie. What was it in Chicago? Wait, not Chicago.
Miami.
No, Illinois. I went to a screening in
Oh,
Illinois. What was the city? Dang it, I can't remember. It's like north of Chicago. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm terrible with that. But we went, and it was predominantly a white crowd, right?
Mm.
And I remember a woman getting up with tears in her eyes and just saying, "Thank you for exposing us to this world." And I had no idea that this even existed. And, and I think that it's really powerful because
Hmm.
it shows. I mean, it lets people have a little more understanding about where people come from and the struggles that they had, and also the acceptance of it is it helps with the acceptance. I'll say that and it's important. So representation is everything.
Representation matters,
Yeah.
especially now, because I think the biggest fight that we're having to present now is the rights for our transgender brothers and sisters now.
Oh man, yes.
And I know that's one of the biggest struggles that's going on in our community now, because we kind of felt that I was talking about this in meditation today, that it's kind of like their struggles like on the back burner. That's why it's like LGBT and T.
Right,
You know what
right,
I'm saying?
right,
So I think it's their time now to actually come back to the forefront so that they can get their rights as well, because trans rights is human rights as well, for those of you that are watching.
right. Amen. And we have T.S. Madison has her own show now,
Yes.
who is a friend of mine, and I think that that's another bit of representation. Anything that we can get out there that will, just let people experience different people that are
Hmm.
different than you are. That's what the thing is. Like, people are afraid of different skin color, different sexuality. And once it becomes a little bit more normal, you hear their stories and you understand, oh, well, I'm pretty much like that person too. So it
Hmm.
can't be that much different.
Hmm.
Maybe the skin tone is different, but inside we all bleed the same. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jordan, as we get ready to close out, I'm excited about the DVD release, April the 22nd, courtesy of Kino Lorber. Tell us a little bit
7th.
about where we can purchase, where we can get our copies.
If you don't mind, I have to correct you. I was told it was April 27th.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's April 27th. My apologies.
I hate correcting people, so thank you.
no, you don't.
Oh, wait a minute. It's the 27th, not the 22nd. Okay, got you. My apologies, y'all. I had my notes written down to say, yeah, it's the 27th. I'm sorry, because I actually
I'm
saw
glad. I'm glid you said it because I was going to say the same thing as you. So yeah, it's all
it.
right.
My
Jamal can
apologies
always
about that.
count
Yeah,
on
it
me.
is April the 27th. Yeah, I don't know why I had it written down the 22nd. My chicken scratch.
No, it's all good. It's going to be available on the Kino Lorber website, and it will also be available on major retailers like Amazon. And for those people who, maybe don't use DVD players, which is totally fine, the film is still streaming on Wow Presents Plus, just on the web, and on major app carriers like Apple Television, and they have a free trial. So
Hey,
I feel like just going in and seeing Jamal on Drag Race and watching the movie, and you're done, then you're done. But no, there's a lot of incredible content on Wow Presents Plus, and we're so proud to be on that platform, like exclusively. It's just a great it's a great set of digital company to be in, because there's so much kind of groundbreaking content on there from the 30 plus years that World of Wonder has been, making content that has pushed boundaries and taken us to places that we weren't familiar with prior to the information age and social media, which has illuminated a dark corner, all the dark corners of the world that deserved attention. So we're very proud to be on that platform. And if you feel like streaming it, it's on Wow Presents Plus. And if you'd like to own a copy of it and hear Jamal's incredible commentary track and my mediocre commentary track, it'll be available on the Kino Lorber website, and I suspect on Amazon as well.
awesome. For those people that want to follow you on social media, how can they follow you, starting with Jamal?
I am Jameezy. This is a name that my nieces and nephews give me, Uncle Jameezy. So Jameezy, so it's at Jameezy, Jamizzi, on all the platforms.
Gotcha. Jameezy in the
Yay.
house. Jordan, how can people follow you?
At Jordan Finnegan on the gram. JordanFinnegan.
Gotcha. Jordan Finnegan on the gram, on the IG, and also on Facebook. For those of you that are tuned into me right now, thank you all so much for participating in this Out on Film Spotlight. Once again, want to give a shout out to Atlanta's largest LGBT film festival, Out on Film. Don't forget to follow them and find out what's in store for this year's 2021 film festival. So visit their website at www.outonfilm.org. Of course, you can follow us on all social media platforms at MEAK as in Kite Productions with an S. That's Meek Productions. And of course, that's the same as our website, meekproductions.com. Until next time, you all, we love you. We appreciate you. We're grateful to the creator of the Omniverse for your existence. And hope to see you and hear from you real soon. Jordan and Jamal, thank you all so much. This has been a wonderful family reunion. I love you guys. I love you both. And we
thank
speak
you,
the
Meek.
name. We speak the name of the godfather of bucking and Jay setting, Brother Anthony Davis. Rest in paradise, brother. Until
and
next
love.
time, you all. Love you all. Take care.
Thank you.